They call it the gateway to the American South, Atlanta, Georgia, one of America's finest cities. Featuring a skyline littered with skyscrapers, many of which are filled with companies with famous names that you may recognize. Atlanta is a city renowned for both its global influence and its regional culture. But none of Atlanta's prosperity would be possible without a key infrastructural element: the railroad. On the cusp of Atlanta's East Point neighborhood, this Norfolk Southern GP38 high hood unit waits patiently for clearance into the yard. An ever-increasing rarity on mainline Norfolk Southern trains, high hoods have become a rail-fanning gem. They remind us of days and trains long since past, and railroads of long ago. Days when these battle-worn EMDs used to be the reigning kings of the road, and when the mournful cry of their P3s and 5s used to echo through the night. This train is Norfolk Southern's tapestry of the old and the new. But no matter how much time passes, and no matter how much paint is applied, the past refuses to be forgotten, and the Southern Railway, at least here on this high hood locomotive, still rules the rails. It's a Southern Railway of the Kansas City variety we find tied down here in Irondale, Alabama. That ferocious-looking lead unit is an SD-70 ACE locomotive, one of the modern-day champions of rail freight, and a locomotive that leaves the design standards of the high hoods far behind. This particular unit is boasting Kansas City Southern's famed Southern Belle paint scheme. But this unit isn't the only locomotive that came dressed for the occasion. Trailing the KCS unit is one of Union Pacific's famously patriotic Dash 9s. All of the major Class 1 railroads have a long and proud history, but none more so than the Union Pacific, the railroad that helped build the original transcontinental railroad from Omaha, Nebraska to Sacramento, California. A lot has changed on the railroad since those early days of the Transcontinental Railroad, principally the creation and implementation of the intermodal container system. But what hasn't changed is the popularity and vitality of America's railroads. Americans rely upon trains to move their goods each and every day, and the only thing that will stop them is waiting for other trains to pass them by. They're traveling from Irondale, Greenville, Chattanooga, and Memphis. They're traveling from Asheville, Waycross, Savannah, and Macon. They carry coal and oil, steel coils, and intermodal containers aplenty, boxcars and reefer cars, and gondolas too. These southern freight trains have a vital job to do: transport freight from farm, factory, warehouse, or ship, cavernous coal mines, and towering container stacks. From the most palatial of warehouses to the smallest little industry on the branch line, trains move all these goods and more down the sun-soaked rails of the American South. Rails that inevitably lead to the terminus city of Atlanta, Georgia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7? This manifest train is more locomotive than manifest. You'd think a train boasting this much horsepower would be towing something really special behind it. But alas, I'm here to report that this monolithic material mover is nothing more than an equipment move from Macon, Georgia up to Atlanta's Inman Yard. This train's consist is a regular who's who of motive power. I see a GE, another GE, followed in short tail by my personal favorite, an EMD SD70 ACE, the mightiest locomotive on the rails. Unfortunately, that sentiment is just my personal opinion. Thanks to the roaring success of their Dash 8, Dash 9, and GEVO series locomotives, General Electric outsells EMD locomotives by a wide margin. That's why you're seeing so many in this consist. These are all major mainline or road freight locomotives. That means they lead the big trains that crisscross America's cities, and that also means they see a lot of wear and tear. That's why some of them look, well, not as nice as others. But the NS is not concerned about looks. Their only concern is about getting these locomotives back to the yard and back in service. Welcome to one of the jewels in the Norfolk Southern system, Atlanta, Georgia's Goliath Inman Yard. Featuring a massive classification, intermodal, and locomotive facilities, Inman Yard operates 24/7 and handles a 24/7 onslaught of trains. Funneling in traffic on the eastern side of Inman Yard is the spaghetti-like Hal Y, which serves both the Norfolk Southern and the CSX respectively. Even though many trains approach Inman Yard from the east from places like Greenville, Jacksonville, and Macon, just as many, if not more, depart from Inman Yard's western side, bound for Birmingham and Chattanooga, Tennessee. The mouths of train yards are bustling places, and no better vantage point to witness the action than a train crossing. Here at Parrott Avenue, we are afforded exquisite views of all the action that the western side of Inman Yard has to offer. Action that includes these behemoth grain unit trains bound for the heartlands of the United States and the fertile grounds which produce much of the nation's food supply. When you need to feed a nation, you need a mode of transportation that can move enormous quantities of grain quickly and efficiently. That's why these enormous grain unit trains crisscross the nation's tracks. And it's that uniformity that makes these grain trains some of the most visually impressive on the rails today. Coming in a close second for visuals are coal trains. A quickly vanishing railroad staple, coal trains provide enormous amounts of fuel for the nation's coal-burning power plants. Have you ever pushed a wheelbarrow full of dirt? It was hard to do, wasn't it? Now picture that magnified by 1,000,000. That's pretty much what coal trains are. Due to their enormous weight when loaded, coal trains take a lot of precision and skill to safely operate up and down steep grades like this one. It seems that the engineer of this coal train was confident, well-trained, and ready to execute his job with precision and grace. The BNSF coal train is a daily happening in Atlanta and is always an impressive sight to behold. But fully loaded coal trains aren't the only heavy haulers to pass through Atlanta. Sometimes it's the very generators that coal may someday power. These sparkling new electricity-producing machines are far too heavy for trucks or airplanes. Therefore, rail remains the only viable option to get these generators to the power plant. Railroads may be capable of moving such large objects, but they can't do it without very specialized equipment. These heavy-duty 8 and 12-axle flat cars are specially designed to be able to handle the heaviest of loads without damaging the rails below them. This train just goes to show you, you never know what you may see rumbling by you on the rails. Case in point, look what's coming towards us. It's the Herzog multi-purpose machine. If the last train didn't pique your fancy, then this here Herzog certainly will. It's the Swiss Army knife of railroad construction and maintenance, and it has quite the story to tell. There's certainly a lot to see on the Herzog multi-purpose machine. Its most notable asset would be the excavator, which rides piggyback on top of custom-built railed flat cars. Those rails allow the excavator to move around like a mini train on top of a train. And that, along with an excavator's versatility and wide range of tool attachments, is why the multi-purpose machine is such a valued piece of railroad repair infrastructure. It's versatile, self-reliant, and easily transportable. That's 3 wins for major railroads looking to get repairs done quickly, efficiently, safely, and on time. That's why the Herzog multi-purpose machine is the top call in the track maintenance world. Did you hear that? That was one of the most beloved sounds on the railroad. The roar of an EMD locomotive hard at work. The multi-purpose machine is powered by a custom rebuilt EMD locomotive, which gives the multi-purpose machine the unique ability to transport itself to the job site. It's been a busy day for the multi-purpose machine. Track work all around the Atlanta area keeps it occupied. But even the most reliable of railroad equipment needs to take a rest every now and then, and that's just what this Herzog machine is doing. It's parking for the day. Its crew will go home to take a well-deserved break, and the Herzog multi-purpose machine will sit patiently, awaiting its next call to action somewhere out there on the Georgia rails. If you follow the tracks just a few miles west of Inman Yard, you'll stumble across beautiful Mableton, Georgia. Mableton is located right smack in the middle of one of the busiest segments of railway in the southeast. Railway that carries valuable and time-sensitive goods such as these fruit-laden reefer cars. This is the kind of valuable cargo that absolutely can't be held up by faulty equipment. Therefore, the railroad takes every precaution available to prevent accidents before they happen. One way railroads do this is with specialized technology like defect detectors. The job of a defect detector is pretty self-explanatory. It looks for and detects problems on passing train cars while also sharing valuable information to the dispatcher and the train's engineer. If a problem is detected with one of the train cars, the engineer will be alerted and then be able to take action to resolve the problem. But if no problem is detected, the engineer will be permitted to zoom on by the defect detector, knowing his train is safe and in good hands. Judging by the speed of this westbound manifest, it looked like it passed the defect detector with flying colors. Throughout the day, dozens upon dozens of trains pass over these rails. Many trains, such as this intermodal, are concluding their long and hard-fought journey to Atlanta's Inman train yard. Other trains' adventures, however, are just getting started. These are the trains pounding west, heading to places like Chattanooga, Birmingham, Memphis, and Chicago. But before they can get there, they must first pass through Atlanta's final great obstacle, the busy junctions of Austell, Georgia. Welcome to the crown jewel in Atlanta rail fanning. Proudly nestled between the junction of the Birmingham and Chattanooga lines, this is Austell, Georgia, the train capital of Atlanta. But wait, I hear you dubiously asking, what exactly can you see in Austell? Well, let me show you. Nestled between Inman and Whitaker train yards, Austell sees every imaginable train under the sun. From frisky locals shuttling intermodal containers between Atlanta's two largest train yards, to monstrous intermodal trains bound for train yards hundreds upon hundreds of miles away. These rails are alive with interstate commerce that would make even the hardened roadways of I-85 blush. Atlanta's road fans may have Spaghetti Junction, but us Atlanta rail fans, well, we're right at home in Austell. And while there, I want you to ask yourself, why have one train when you can have two? why don't you pay us a visit and see some old friends, like the BNSF coal train? And just when one train passes, another is sure to take its place. All the action can be enjoyed from Austell's beautifully maintained Railfan Park. It doesn't just have some of the finest railside views in the south, it also has some of the finest railside people you'll ever get a chance to meet. That is, if you're able to hear them over the roar of approaching trains. A world of rail freight passes through Austell each and every day, with every one of these cars carrying a different commodity for use all over the country. It's no surprise then that extra locomotives are sent up to Austell to help deal with the large volumes of traffic thundering by. Locomotives Light are followed by a laboring local here at Austell's never-ending train parade. Not only is this the first DPU-equipped local I've ever seen, it's one with foreign power belonging to the Union Pacific. A common sight here in Austell, but a thrilling one nonetheless for a Greenville railfan like myself. I'll take foreign power any day, and Austell does not disappoint with this repeat viewing of a UP EMD. But that's the moral of this story. Austell does not disappoint, and neither does its sister city of Atlanta, Georgia. These twin train titans will do you no wrong, and I guarantee any amount of time spent trackside in Terminus City will be time very well spent.